another rant. And this one goes out to the Trump supporters who just love going to the courthouse and protesting and are out there going to Trump's rallies and hollering lock him up when talking about Biden. Let me paint a picture for you, because maybe you're too brain blocked to see it. Let's say you have 3 friends. One friend has been a friend of yours for decades, has been a friend of your family's for decades. 2 of the other friends are your most recent friends. Okay? Let's start there. Well, on occasion, you would ask them for advice and show them paperwork, and they would read it and whatnot. Fine and dandy. You know, they give you advice and you think they're doing a good job for you, a good deed for you. And on occasion, they even take this paperwork home. Two of the people take just a little bit of the paperwork home. One of the people take gobs of your paperwork home. The 2, they take your kids' homework, maybe some ground, some of your property remodeling, things like that. And they never tell anybody about it. In fact, they even forgot they had it. One of them, well, he takes your shopping list. He takes your schedule for when you're at work, when you're at home, when you're going to vacation, what events your children have. He takes home the schematics for your security system, the blueprints for your home. He takes home everything he can get a hold of and has gobs of it. Well, you go and look for your children's birth certificates and you can't find them. So you ask your kids about them. Your kids say, "Oh, yeah, that one dude has them." So you go over to his house, and he's one of the newer people. And you ask him for them. And you notice that a whole bunch of other paperwork was missing too. So you ask him for them too. Because your children have told you that he was the one reading them. He says, "Oh, I don't have them. I don't have them." Meanwhile, he's off on the side making copies of this paperwork, showing it to absolutely anybody he wants to show them to. So your security codes and your schematics and your blueprints are all out there to Tom, Dick, and Harry now. They all know about it. Okay? So it threatens the security of your home. So you go back and you ask him for this paperwork. Well, he gives you back your children's homework and your children's schedules. But you know he has more. And he keeps on lying to you. For 6 months, he lies to you. He tells you he don't have that paperwork. So you go to the police department and you ask them. You tell them what's going on. The police go to him and ask him for the paperwork back. And that man lies to them. And he tells them he doesn't have them. He has none of them. Meanwhile, people that have been to his house say, "Oh yeah, he has them. We've seen them." We've seen him. His wife is telling people, oh yeah, he has them. We've seen them. She's telling the cops, oh, I've seen them. Yeah, they're there. No problem. And he keeps on lying. So the cops go to the courts and tell the courts, we need a search warrant. This dude is putting this other family in danger. We need to get their paperwork back. So the police go into his house and search his house and take that paperwork. Meanwhile, he's out there lying to your friends and telling your friends they had no justification to come into the house. That was your paperwork. You had the right to that paperwork because that family showed that paperwork to you. So you had the right to do whatever you wanted to that paperwork. And he had made copies of them and everything else. And some of the paperwork the police got were just the copies, not the originals. And the police couldn't find the originals. And this paperwork is the schematics for your security system. They are the codes for your security system. They are the blueprints for your house. And you never got the originals back. You only got the copies. What did he do with the originals? And where are they? And he's still lying about having them. So now he's out there lying to all your friends. And all your friends believe him. So they're outside your house and they're attacking you because of his lie. Okay? So they're forced to take him to court to try and get justice for those lies. To try and get everything back that belongs to you. And you people are outside the courthouse hollering and screaming and yelling about how it's such an injustice. And in the paperwork for the courts, it's all spelled out for you. But you refuse to read that paperwork. No, you are out there listening to that man's cousins and nephews and children and everybody else who are also lying to you about what's going on. Full on lying to you. And now your children come up to you and say, oh, Mommy, Daddy, he's not so bad. Let's invite him in the house. Let's let him back in. He was so much fun. He gave us candy. And you're out there and you're telling your children that you can't do that. So your children are outside of your bedroom and pounding on, Mommy, we want him back. Mommy, we want him back. They're hitting you. They're slapping you. They're calling you names. But you're trying to protect your children. And your children don't get that. And you take him to court. And your children hate you for it. They start telling the police you're abusing them. Because you won't invite this idiot back into your house. Well, let's see. And meanwhile, on the other side, those other two people, they say, I wonder if I've got some of that paperwork. They go through their house. They find the paperwork. They voluntarily return it back to you. They never told anybody about it. They never gave them copies of it. They gave you the originals back. And then they go to the police department and say, oh, You know, with this deal with this other dude, we would like it if you would come into our home and search and see if we've got any more paperwork in here and return it to the family. So the police voluntarily go to these people's house. They search their house. They go to their vacation home. They search their vacation home. They go to their workplace. They search their workplace. They find some more paperwork in some boxes in locked in areas. These people never showed them to anybody, never made copies of them, and voluntarily returned them. And now your children are out there saying, but what about? He did it too. He took paperwork too. Lock him up. Well, yeah, he took paperwork too. But he voluntarily returned that paperwork. He never made copies of that paperwork. He never showed that paperwork to anybody else. When he had that paperwork because he was using it to benefit you, your home, to give you advice. He didn't want it to sell it to somebody else, to show it to somebody else, to make himself look like some kind of big macho idiot by saying, hey, look at what I got. No, he had used it to give you the advice you had asked for. And he voluntarily returned it. But you're out there hollering and screaming, lock him up. While you're asking for this other idiot who lied to the police, lied to you, told lies to your friends and your family, have people attacking you, you're out there asking for that person not to be locked up. First of all, that's hypocritical. Second of all, that's otherism. Because the other two people, and let me put it to you this way. One of them other people, I have no respect for him either. Now, who am I talking about? Biden and Pence are the two who took the paperwork and voluntarily returned them and asked the FBI to search their property for any more. They never made copies of it. They never told anybody else they had it. All of the paperwork were in boxes locked in private areas. Only accessible to them. The only other people that could have gone in them areas at all had to be invited in them areas in the presence of them. They couldn't just walk into those areas. Let me ask you, if you had a vintage Corvette and an expensive house, are you gonna leave your garage door open for anybody to walk into and steal that Corvette and to rummage through your garage? Hell no! But Trump had those paperwork sitting inside bathrooms, in the ballrooms, in storage rooms, where anybody in a public building, a shared communal building, basically a hotel motel, where anybody could have gone into those areas and seen that paperwork. He was making copies of that paperwork. He was showing them off to all kinds of people. Biden and Pence voluntarily returned that paperwork. But you Trumplicans are such big brainwashed idiots that you're willing to let Trump get away with it and then holler for the people who did the right thing to go to jail. You know, we don't use the word retarded because it's insulting to those who have mental disabilities. But I'm going to tell you right now, for the people out there who's choosing to not use their brain, who have let the critical side of their brain die, yeah, you're retarded. Full on 100% retarded. Because you made the choice to not think critically. To not see the full picture. And you have forced the rest of us out here to protect you from yourself so that we can protect ourselves. Wake up, you fucking idiots. You're endangering us. And now you want to invite Trump back into the White House? You don't think he's endangered us enough? Where are that paperwork that he never returned, that came back as copies? Who did he show them to? Where did he put them? Did he sell them to a foreign country? Where is the paperwork he never returned? Who did he sell them to? Where did he put them? Who did he show them to? And how much danger did it put the security of our nation, of our White House, of our friends, did it put them into? How much danger did it put those people out there in the world who are protecting us? And you want to be outside his courthouse hollering, "Let him out! We want Trump! We want Trump!" You're idiots. Full on idiots. You refuse to look at the facts. You refuse to read any of the paperwork. The only thing you want to do is listen to the lying idiots on Fox News, the lying idiots on Newsmax, your stupid, idiotic conspiracy theory rabbit holes, and not look at one stitch of facts. You're willing to listen to every lie that Trump tells you. You might as well go to the prison, and any convict in that prison that tells you they are innocent, they did nothing wrong, you might as well ask the prison guards for a key and unlock that door and let them out. Because you know they're innocent without looking at one stitch of evidence. And you're so much smarter than everybody else in doing this. No, you're not. You're a bunch of fracking idiots. Full on 100% nothing smart about you. You're an idiot. And now we're forced to protect you. And we're doing all we can to do it. Even though you don't appreciate one bit of it. So maybe in the end, if it ends up killing you, that's your fault, not ours.